Hello and welcome to the Culture Swally, a podcast dedicated to Scottish news and pop culture. My name is Nicky and I'm all by myself today, because Greg and I are having an extra couple of weeks off and recovering from the festive period. But we didn't want to leave you without an episode this week, so it's the usual cop-out of cobbling together a best of the news special. So, if this is the first time you've listened to the show, thank you very much for downloading, and this will give you a taster as what the first half of the podcast is usually like. And if you're a regular listener, then kick back, relax, or do whatever you normally do whilst listening to Greg and I talk nonsense, and reminisce on some of the wonderful news stories from 2024. And we also have a special treat for you at the end of the episode. I hope you enjoy listening to this as much as I've enjoyed putting it together. Right, I never get to say this normally. Nicky, cue the jingle.
Hello, this is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation, and here is what's been going on in the news.
Back in January 2024, on episode 92 of the podcast, we followed the Majestics on their magical comeback tour as we looked at the 1987 classic Tutti Frutti. But in the news, we discussed Gordon Ramsay's latest creation of a breakfast burger.
Talking funny.
Because it's for Wayne.
My next story is from Glasgow Live this week, Greg, and it concerns ex-Rangers player, that's how he would like to be known, I imagine, Gordon Ramsay. Although he never actually really made a proper appearance for Rangers, but but we'll let him see what it does. So the headline is Gordon Ramsay's full Scottish burger urged by Scots to get in the bin. So, Gordon Ramsay has taken to social media to show off one of his latest creations, but it's not going down as well as he thought it would. After posting about his full Scottish, available at his Edinburgh restaurant, the chef and TV star was soon hit by criticism, with people saying it was far from a full Scottish, and that's because of a few things that don't belong there. In his caption, he wrote, "Try the full Scottish at Gordon Ramsay Street Burger, Edinburgh, with Lorne sausage, a hash brown, and an easy over egg. The brioche burger contains a square sausage, egg, a hash brown, and controversially, lettuce and tomato. It's very apparent nobody thinks the last of those three things belong in any full Scottish breakfast, with one calling the chef a chancer." Taking to X, often called Twitter. That's the first time I've seen that. Normally it's previously, formerly known as Twitter, but they've now often called Twitter. People spoke their minds, and it's clear while some were keen to get their hands on and around the burger, others were more happy to stay away. One said, 18 quid for a sausage and egg doubler. No Scottish person puts salad in a breakfast roll. Get in the sea, Gordo.
Get in the sea.
Another wrote, get in the sea, Gordo. Another wrote, nae tatty's gone, and the roll is too posh, and the slice looks far too lean, and there seems to be some green shite on it. A third simply said, nah, Gordon, nah, whilst another wrote, hash brown, that's no Scottish, and as for lettuce at breakfast, have a fucking word with yourself. A fifth added, get that roll, that lettuce, and that tomato in the bin. The hash brown can stay. At a push. On the side though, needs a wee totty scone on the side as well. And a proper roll would be good. I did see a post on Twitter about it as well, and someone posted there, there's no a Scottish person alive that's putting lettuce and tomato in that roll, you fanny. So yeah, Gordon's come under a little bit of criticism for his full Scottish roll because he's got lettuce and tomato on it. Now, it's obviously a burger, so I don't think it's meant to be eaten at breakfast time. So a square sausage, I mean, obviously I'm out immediately because as we famously know, that gives me heartburn. And obviously I'm a vegetarian. So
more importantly.
But it contains a square sausage, egg, hash brown, lettuce and tomato in a brioche bun. It sounds quite nice though, doesn't it?
I mean, it sounds fine. I think, if I suspect that he didn't kind of come up with it as a Scottish tribute. But if he did, he could maybe swap the hash brown for a wee totty scone. That'd be nice, I think.
That'd make more sense than a hash brown. I mean, I like a hash brown, but it's not Scottish.
Yeah.
But a wee totty scone is,
Swap the brioche for like a well-fired roll.
Yeah. And I think you need a little bit of haggis in there as well. Like a nice little slice of haggis.
Maybe like a wee sort of whiskey base relish or something like that. Bit on there, for a bit of wee bit of sweetness and spice.
That sounds nice, actually. Now, yeah, maybe we should get onto X, often called Twitter, and
annoy him.
annoy Gordon. Hey, Gordo. We've, I know you're a multi-millionaire and a world-famous chef, but we've thought of some improvements that we could do on your fucking full Scottish burger.
Yeah, we've noticed where you're going wrong.
Just give you a bit of advice here, Gordo.
He's got a funny relationship with Scotland, Gordon Ramsay, because I know he was born in. I remember I read his autobiography years and years ago, and he was born in Johnson, and his mum's Scottish. And I've seen his mum on the TV when he used to do the F word on Channel 4. He had her on a couple of times, seemingly with the sole aim of humiliating her. So he used to do like a sort of cooking. He would have like a competition where him and somebody else would do their own version of like a classic. I remember him and Al Murray, they made bread and butter puddings, and the guests had to decide which one was the best. But he got his mum on. I can't remember what she was making, but it was a real sort of hearty dish, like steak pie or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So he gets his mum on to go up against her, making his steak pie against her steak pie. And then, obviously, he's a fucking Michelin star chef who works in Paris, right? And his mum's just a wee Scottish woman, probably a recipe that's been handed down from her mum. And Gordon Ramsay won, and he's like, yes! Do you know what I mean? Like, you would think, if you get your mum on, you fucking let her win, right? You know what I mean?
Get it, ruin you.
Yes. Right up you. So, but I mean, he moved away from Scotland when he was 9. Now, I moved, and he didn't keep his accent. I moved away from Scotland when I was 8, although I did come back when I was 14. But I didn't lose my accent. You know what I mean? He's obviously just tried to fit in, he's been made fun of instead of being a...
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know. He's quite a controversial figure, Ramsay. Even though he's an ex-Hun, apparently. I can't help but love the guy. Like,
I do like him.
He's brilliant.
Like him a lot. Yeah.
And I've read a lot about him online, actually, and I've met him, actually. Yeah, I met him in Dubai. I went to his Bread Street kitchen restaurant and met him.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I've read a lot about him online. I've never heard a bad word about him, if you know what I mean. Like, people are like, he's lovely. And I think it says a lot. Like, all of his staff, like, no one says a bad word about him. Like, he's amazing to work for. And I think it is a persona that he's this angry, sweary chef, but I think he does demand, obviously, high caliber, but I think he's very good about it and fair. And I think a good guy.
I mean, his celebrity initially was built on his temper, because he was... Yeah. I remember the first show, and I remember watching it, was that Boiling Point, where obviously, like, somebody had heard him ripping a commie chef like a new arsehole or something, and decided that he would make a good subject for like a sort of fly in the wall documentary. And he sort of famously worked for Marco Pierre White and all that, didn't he? But but I can sort of understand. I'm in the same industry, right? So I can understand what he was obviously very, very driven, and and didn't any passengers were swiftly fucking kind of kicked off the boat, if they weren't kind of pulling their weight or doing what he wanted them to do. I remember him sacking a waiter on the spot because the waiter took a drink of water in the dining room, and he didn't want the diners he didn't think the diner should have to see a waiter having a drink of water in a fine dining restaurant and fucking canned them. But I think now, to your point, I think he's obviously been massively successful, and he's probably not that guy anymore. I know he plays that guy in Hell's Kitchen, because that's one of me and my family's favourite shows. But he's obviously been, that's what it's all about. It's all about him fucking cracking up at them when they make mistakes and things like that. And but I think, to your point, he's actually probably quite mellow by comparison to what he was in the kind of late 90s when he first sort of came in the telly.
Yeah, I might go back and watch some of the old Kitchen Nightmares, because they were fantastic. I never really liked the US ones, because that felt a lot of falsified drama. Like, it was always it always kicked off, but the UK one was so raw and real. Yeah. And the first series or so was just fucking amazing in terms of really good. Just the idiots that you couldn't believe. But as it went on and became more successful, and especially with the US export, it became a little bit more panto. But that first couple of series of Kitchen Nightmares is just epic television when he's just, ripping the absolute arse out of people. But he's doing it from a good place as well. He's like, I want you to succeed,
Yeah,
and he goes into a restaurant and they have like 40 things in the menu and he's like, strip it back, have like 6 things that you do well, rather than, why are you a fucking restaurant in Hamilton High Street? Why are you cooking jambalaya and egg and chips and sea bass? Like, no, stick to what you know.
Well, if you're ever feeling a wee bit low and you want to be cheered up, just watch the opening credits for his Hotel Hell TV show. It'll cheer you up. It will.
All right. I'll look at that after we finish recording.
Pay no attention to Miss Tona, Danny. She's going to get a jort us when we get back.
Just try it.
In February, on episode 93, we looked at the cult classic film starring the very elegantly handled Time Lord Peter Capaldi, soft top, hard shoulder. But also on that episode, we met a man who wanted to add his sausage to his supper in his local chip shop.
Animal rights. Thank you. Oh, animal rights.
Fuck off.
Well, once again, it's been a bit of a lean week for Swally-centric news. And then I came across one which I think we've had the same sort of story about 100 times over the years we've been doing the pod. It comes from the Daily Record on, when did it come? On Thursday, the 25th of January. Drunk shocks chippy staff with sausage supper after they're pulling down his pants in the chip shop. This is Craig Patterson, aged 40. There's a photograph of him. I mean, I've got nearly 6 years on Craig, and he looks like he's got fucking 30 years on me. He exposed himself at the Chippy Takeaway in West Lothian in May of 2022. An 18-year-old girl and a 51-year-old man who had been drinking with Craig in the Bluebell Inn in West Lothian saw him standing outside a nearby newsagent's. He asked them to wait for him while they ordered food from a nearby takeaway food shop called The Chippy. Knowing he was heavily under the influence of alcohol, they decided to keep an eye on him to make sure he got home safely. However, when the man and woman went into the shop to hurry the accused along, he suddenly boasted to them that he had an 8-inch dick and massive balls. He added that if the man gave him £50, he'd get them out, Livingston Sheriff Court was told. His drinking companion jokingly told him, "Go on then," and Patterson promptly unzipped his jeans, dropped his trousers and underwear, and exposed his penis and testicles to them. He and the teenager told Patterson to put his genitals away, and the accused did as he was ordered. All three then went back to the Bluebell Inn on Main Street in West Calder, where Patterson ate the food that he bought. I can't imagine the pub being over the moon about someone bringing their own chippy in.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. That's the most unbelievable part of the story for me so far.
Yeah. So Patterson of Stuartfield Crescent, Broxton, West Lothian, in case anybody wants to go in Chappie's door, appeared for sentencing Thursday after earlier pleading guilty to intentionally exposing his genitals in a sexual manner with the intention that the witnesses would see them in May 2022. His not guilty pleas to sexually assaulting the teenage girl in the pub by stroking her legs and making indecent sexual comments towards her and to others were accepted by the Crown. So he's just a flasher, not a sex case. Charlie Morrison, defending, said Patterson was not subject to the notification requirements commonly known as the Sex Offenders Register, because a court had ruled that he did not, that the remaining charge of getting his balls out did not have a significant sexual element. Well, that's true. He was trying to make a quick 50 quid off his pal.
I mean, 50 quid's a bit much just to ask for getting your balls out. I mean, our friend at Little John's Window, which we've already said is me, used to do that for free all the time. So to charge 50 quid, Christ, I could have made a fortune with the amount of times.
Be fucking living in a lap of luxury if we're paying you every time you get your balls out. So Morrison added that Craig was in what's his name again? Craig was in homeless accommodation at the time. He doesn't remember what happened, but he says the matter has been a wake-up call for him. So the sheriff, Susan Craig, sentenced Patterson to carry out 160 hours of unpaid work in the community within 6 months. She says she told him, "This was a clearly ridiculous incident and you're absolutely right to be ashamed of yourself. That was appalling behaviour and must have been shocking for those in the chip shop where you behaved in that way." I mean, look, it's... Times have changed quite a lot, I think, because I have seen some absolute spectacles in the wee hours of the morning queuing for a curry or a kebab as a young man. And I don't remember anybody getting arrested.
No, I was just about to say some of the sights I've seen in a chip shop at 2 a.m. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about 20 odd years ago, Greg, when we were doing that. But yeah, I've seen some sights in chip shops. I've seen many a boob in a chip shop.
Oh, yeah.
Of ladies flashing their boobs to get extra chips or something, or to get to the front of the queue, or I've seen many people getting fishy fingers in a chip shop, but not of the over-the-counter variety. Yeah, we've seen many sights. I mean, for God's sake, I mean, always go back to the pie shop on Chapel Street, and we used to always ask the guy if he was really a master baker and stuff. And yeah, used to see some sights in there, but it's all about drunken fun, wasn't it? Yeah, times have changed now, but 50 quid I think is extortionate just to get your balls out. Yeah,
I still can't quite believe that night. I can see your cock in my mind's eye, still pressed against the glass. Again, right on the other side of the window where people eating their dinners.
I mean, in my defense, I think I'd had a bottle of like Sainsbury's vodka, which was fucking like paint stripper. And I mean, I must have only been like, 21?
Yeah, so maybe even a wee bit
over half my life ago. Yeah, you know what? I don't regret it, but I don't condone it. Yeah. Like, it happened. It's what happened. And yeah. And as you said, I think you said in a previous episode, there was many times that we'd be in a nightclub and we'd be dancing. I would just tap you on the shoulder and point down and have my cock out.
I know, like, You Can't Touch This by MC Hammer would come on, and that would be Nicky's cue to draw my attention to the cock hanging.
I can promise I've not done that for many a time, but there was a period of time I specifically remember actually. Oh, for fuck's sake, I'm going to regret saying this so much. I might cut this out. I don't know. It was around about 2002. It was when I was just leaving uni, and Jackass was a very obviously big show.
Yeah, it's huge.
And it was huge at that time, and it became kind of a joke amongst my uni friends. They would start humming the Party Boy song, and I would start stripping off. And I have a photo of me actually in the middle of Bonaccord Street in Aberdeen wearing an Indian headdress, like not a proper full one, like a party shop Indian headdress with my shirt open and my trousers on my ankles, dancing to the Party Boy theme that my friends were humming. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I might cut that out.
I mean...
Anyway.
I don't think that's worse than pressing your cock up against the glass of a busy restaurant on a Friday night, to be quite honest.
Yeah, that's probably true, actually. Yeah, that was just a bit of hijinks, whereas, pressed my cock against the glass might have offended a few diners, especially if they were vegetarian. But that wasn't that common back then, so never mind. Anyway, right, let's move on. Fuck's sake, I'm going to really struggle editing this episode now. Okay, so what is happening to our sausage supper hero?
160 hours of unpaid work that he's got to complete within 6 months.
Surely if a judge was having a laugh, should just fined him 50 quid and say that's the 50 quid you got for getting your cock out. That's what I would have done.
I hope he's still got that money. Yeah, anyway. Hopefully he's learnt his lesson. He doesn't remember any of it. Maybe he had a couple of bottles of Sainsbury's vodka as well before he went to the shipping.
Well, things would really get me down. I used to work in this baby wear shop. Sometimes I'd really want to punch the wee bastards right in the face.
We got spooky in February on episode 94, where we looked at Florence Pugh and her lovely jeans, and more importantly, the patron saint of the Culture Swally, James Cosmo, in the 2018 film Malevolent. But in the news, we found out what happened during a burnt supper in a notorious Scottish prison.
Jackson. Is this your usual routine for all your clients?
Well, my first story, we're switching from Edinburgh to Glasgow. We've done a couple of stories about Sutton Prison in the past, but now we're going to Barlinnie for our next story. So when this episode goes out, it'll be just under a month since Burns Night. But this story, the headline is just wonderful, and the headline is Balm o' Shanter. And this is from the Scottish Sun this week. A Barlinnie Burns supper, try saying that after you've had a couple of beers. A Barlinnie Burns supper turned out to be a major flop on Monday after cons ditched the bash over fears it could destroy their hard man image. Insiders claim the inmates at the notorious Glasgow Nick swerved the jolly amid concerns their street cred could be tarnished among criminal associates. A prison source revealed Tam O'Shanter. It was more like Bam O'Shanter looking at the crowd that attended Mondays do. If underworld connections on the outside knew prisoners were reciting poetry, holding hands for Auld Lang Syne, and singing folk music, they'd be a laughingstock. It's understood that fewer than 20 cons checked out of their cells for a tartan-themed party complete with iron brew and shortbread. A source said, the bash has been the talk of the steamy. The steamy? That's brilliant that they call the laundry the steamy. The bash has been the talk of the steamy for weeks. However, most of the cons, including murderers and ruthless gangsters, avoid the event. It's seen as a brutal stain on their street cred. Maintaining a hard man image is more important than escaping their cells for a song and a dance. The Scottish Prison Service last night defended the bash and insisted it is important to mark significant events. A spokesperson said, we work hard to support the health and well-being of all those in our care, including the events such as these which celebrate important dates in the cultural calendar. It comes after The Sun exclusively revealed last month that jailed paedophiles at Barlinnie were treated to a Christmas sing-song and then got selection boxes to take back to their cells. I'm not laughing at that, but there's something funny about giving pedos a selection box to take back to their cells.
It's the sing-song. You better watch out.
Young girl, get it. Critics blasted the Lively Talent show style party and presents for sickos who signed up for music classes at the Barlinnie Nick. An insider said, Christmas is mainly for children, so the fact that paedophiles and rapists were singing songs about this time of year just doesn't sit right, and I think that's a valid point. Now, it's a burn supper. I thought it's a cultural thing, but they're saying they don't want to be a laughingstock. It's not like they're going to like a line dancing event or something like that. It's a burn supper. Surely you'd think it'd be a nice treat to get some like haggis and iron brew and shortbread and stuff, and celebrate your cultural heritage rather than sit in your cell wanking off to Linda Lusardi on your wall.
Maybe they're turning up at the burn supper with a sharpened toothbrush in their sock instead of a ski and do.
Yeah, maybe. That would actually, that'd go quite well. I don't know, is it okay to laugh about stuff like that? I suppose it is. But yeah, maybe if they'd heard about Cosmo's burn supper, then they would have wanted to attend, because obviously that would maybe make them...
That was a belter.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was a wonderful event. But yeah, I can see where they might think they've lost street cred with them holding hands and singing Auld Lang Syne together. Maybe that's a little bit. But then it's a bonding experience, surely. It's nice.
Yeah, I don't think they really want to bond with each other, though, prisoners. I think most of them just want to keep their head down and get the fuck out of there.
I've been rewatching Oz, mate. I think there's a few that do want to bond with each other. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know what next is planned for the prisoners at Barlinnie. Maybe a little Easter egg hunt or something they can shove. Well, like that news story. I was so gutted that wasn't Scottish, about the man that had Kinder eggs up his bum. So maybe they'll be doing that in the prison for Easter eggs, but we'll wait and see. But that's the update from Barlinnie.
Your mother was afraid. She more strength. She'll still be here.
Episode 95 was a bit of a sombre affair as we discussed the highly emotional but fantastically brilliant Mayflies from 2022, starring Swally favourites Martin Compston, Tony Curran and Ashley Jensen. But before that, we discovered where in Scotland was the best place to survive a zombie apocalypse. That might have been in poor taste actually, given the content of that show.
And the rest, as they say, is cancer.
Where?
Esophagus, liver, stomach, and lymph nodes, whatever the fuck they are. I've got 4 months, and that's the short of it.
Well, my first one comes from the Daily Record on what's the date? The 20th of February. It's by the reporter Sarah Vesti, and the headline reads, Scottish Highlands ranked as the safest place to survive a zombie apocalypse. Really, it's quite comforting to know that people are sitting around doing surveys on things that could never possibly happen. You know what I mean? But anyway. So it says the Scottish Highlands have been ranked as the safest place to survive a zombie apocalypse. A new study has found Argyll and Bute came a close second, with the Western Isles, Orkney and Stirling also featuring in the top 10 places.
Stirling?
I mean, I think it might have happened in Stirling already. Obvious factors that were taken into account included population density and the availability of useful survival resources such as supermarkets and outdoor supply doors. But the number of lakes, garages, medical centres and other valuable amenities were also examined to discover areas with the best survival supplies. The study, conducted by Jeff Bet, that's all one word, it's not some guy called Jeff Bet, it sounds like a sort of company, it must be like a betting website, gave a score of 74.04 out of a possible 130 points to the picturesque Scottish Highlands. A standout strength was the remarkably low population density, which was seen as a crucial factor in navigating post-apocalyptic challenges. The wilderness areas were identified as being the perfect location for foraging and setting up remote shelters away from others. Securing second place with a respectable score of 71.27 points is Argyll and Bute. Known for its remote and secluded setting, this area is a prime location for surviving tough times. I can only imagine that Stirling was put in there because they've got a few supermarkets then, just based on the criteria that the reporters laid out.
Is it because maybe the monument as well, because it's high up and maybe zombies can't climb up there as well?
I think the zombies will be too fucked from climbing the steep hill to...
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But Stirling Castle's quite high as well. You could bring the drawbridge up.
How do you think they've done the research to base this on? Like, have they just watched The Walking Dead and Day of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead and Shaun of the Dead? And 28 days later, like how have they worked out nobody knows what zombies are actually going to be like?
Well, that's the thing. Like Zack Snyder and Danny Boyle, or rather Alex Garland, imagined zombies that could run quite fast, which is quite scary. Because I always felt, as much as Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead are perhaps two of my favourite ever films. The original Night of the Living Dead has been remade about 1,000 times, but the original black and white one and the original Dawn of the Dead are two of my faves. But I was never particularly worried about zombies when I was younger, because I thought they're slow as fuck. You know what I mean? And then 28 Days Later came out, and they're not slow. In fact, they're pretty fast. And I didn't really fancy my chances as a 25-year-old young man who was out every night and smoked about 20 fags a day, outrunning a determined zombie, to be quite honest. I'm not even that sure that... I don't even fancy my chances now, to be quite honest.
So did that start to worry you then after you saw that? You thought, oh, maybe I better get fit and stop the fags, because in case there is a zombie apocalypse. Because it is highly likely, isn't it? Jesus Christ. I mean, why are they wasting money putting stuff into studies like this?
Well, I mean, it is Jeff Bet. Let's see what Jeff Bet is, because
I thought you said Jeff Beck to start with, and I was like, Jesus, what's Jeff Beck doing a study of zombie apocalypse for?
Especially when he's dead.
Yeah, well, maybe he's been reanimated.
Maybe he did it before he died, because he thought he might get a chance to come back and play Hi-Ho Silver Lining one more time.
He's trying to do this study to find out the places to avoid, because he knows they're the worst places to go if he's a zombie.
Yeah.
Better avoid Stirling. I'll just go to Falkirk instead.
I thought maybe the zombies might avoid the Scottish Highlands, because famously that's where Jimmy Savile ran away to.
That's a very good point. He was, yeah. He did like a dead body.
Even zombies are wary of fundraising nonsense. Well, necrophiliac, right? Apparently.
Yeah, it was.
So, yeah, zombies are like, fuck that, you know.
But then would zombies be safe? Because technically they're dead, but then they still are alive in a way. They're reanimated. So maybe Savile wouldn't be interested.
Maybe not.
Maybe the kiddie zombies. Anyway.
So Jeff Bet is an official betting website, by the way. I'm not sure why they're commissioning studies on zombie apocalypses, but they are.
That's fair enough. Well, Jeff Bet, if you'd like to sponsor the Culture Swally, you can get in touch with us on cultureswally@gmail.com.
She can make things difficult. Legally when we get back.
Not for me, I'm not coming back.
Just think about how she'll feel. How I'll feel.
I won't be here, so I won't know.
Don't be a dick.
I'm doing this for her too. I want her to remember me whole. Do you not understand that?
In March on episode 96, we went to Uganda. Not really, but we did visit Idi Amin as we watched the 2006 award-winning film The Last King of Scotland. But closer to home, we discovered a new national holiday in Scotland, but it's safe to say I wasn't a fan. It really gives me the boke.
Scottish?
Yeah.
Why didn't you say so? I fought with the Scots against the Mau Mau. Great soldiers, very brave, and good people, completely. Let me tell you, if I could be anything instead of a Ugandan, I would be a Scot.
Well, Greg, this episode will be coming out on Thursday, the 21st of March. So I am delighted to say that our listeners have 4 days to prepare for Scotland's next National Day.
Oh.
We can give this an announcement on the Swally. So this is from the Scottish Sun this week, and the headline is The Lorne Supremacy. Scotland's favourite breakfast treat, not by me, is to be honoured with the launch of the world's first ever National Square Sausage Day. The nation's passion for the iconic meaty morsel inspired butcher Craig Chalmers to invite Scots to tuck into feasts featuring the adorned, right-angled Gutbuster. It gives me indigestion. I fucking hate square sausage. And he selected March the 25th as the day to celebrate the traditional delicacy because 25 is a square number. Craig, commercial manager at We Hay Meat, that's a fucking great name for a company. We Hay Meat in Ayrshire said, "We have a genuine passion for the square sausage and we're very excited to declare 25th of March the world's first National Square Sausage Day." What's not to love about a square sausage? Well, Craig, where do I start? Craig reckons there's good reason why millions of Scots drool over the tummy-filling lip smacker, often turning up their noses at the alternative Lynx version. Give me a Lynx version any day. And he has also spotted a potential and unexpected advantage that could give the flat, four-sided banger better green credentials than your everyday cylindrical sizzler. This whoever's written this is having a fucking field day in this article. He added, "It's locally produced and the perfect shape for a breakfast roll, with no slicing required, and it winna fall out."
Well, he's definitely got you there.
He added, and because it's thinner, it takes less time to cook than a Lynx sausage. Meaning that you switch to square sausage, you're taking a step in reducing your energy consumption. And he's got a point, to be fair. He's got a point.
The fact that it won't fall out, I guess, can reduce your anxiety as well, if that's something that you might typically worry about, you know.
The origins of the square sausage, commonly known as Lorne sausage, remain a mystery, but its status as an iconic Scottish food is undeniable. A well-known Scottish myth is that it was invented by Glasgow comedian Tommy Lorne, contrary to the widely held belief that a West Coast butcher in the Firth of Lorne created it. Craig is now urging sausage maniacs to mark the inaugural day by enjoying a slice, not just for breakfast, but for lunch and dinner too. His firm will celebrate by donating square sausage meals to the Daily Community Pantry and Daily Primary School and sharing tips on social media on the best ways to cook and serve a slice. The family business prides itself with a commitment to quality traditional flavours, producing more than 21 million slices a year. They also have a skinny range containing up to 75% less fat and 45% fewer calories than the standard range, offering a healthy alternative. For chippy lovers, it also offers a chippy style range. They're 700 gram. Oh no, I'm not giving you a promotion for that because it's talking about how much they cost in Tesco's and stuff. So, Greg, it's going to be National Square Sausage Day on the 25th of March in Scotland. How are you going to be celebrating?
Well, probably not eating square sausage because I'll be here. But although you can sometimes get them here, like the frozen ones.
You get them parking shop.
Yeah, I've seen them there a couple of times.
Yeah.
Do you know how I think square sausage was invented, right? And because, we Scots have got a hundreds of years reputation for being very practical problem solvers, right? I mean, the amount of things we invented, fucking penicillin, all sorts of weird and wonderful things that have basically made the world a better place. I think the square sausage was invented by Solway fishermen, right? Who were given like sausage sandwiches for their pieces when they were out at sea, but because of, as the ships rocking about, they found that the sausages kept rolling out of their pieces onto the deck, right? So they were like, oh, this is fucking no use. So they've gone back to shore, and one of the guys has created a flat sausage, a square sausage, and said, here, this won't fall out your piece on choppy seas. And that's why we've got square sausage. And his name was fucking Johnny Lorne or something like that.
Johnny Lorne. Sounds like fucking
Hamish
guitarist in Razorlight or something.
Hamish Lorne.
I know you're taking a piss, but you could be onto something possibly, because that's how, just spoken about butt rays and rowies at the start. That's how they were invented. It was to give to the fishermen because they're high in fat content, so it gives them energy, and they don't go stale for about 2 weeks.
Right.
So if you gave them like bread, the bread would go stale and you'd be a bit loaded with bread, but because of the high fat content, it gave them energy to keep fishing. You never know. You could be onto something there. I don't know. But I never thought about that. I have to admit that, often when you're having a sausage sandwich, a link sausage will roll out.
Yeah, you squeeze it too tight, it can pop out, can't it?
Yeah, maybe he's got a point there. But
so national, so I have to put that in the calendar then and see if I can get a wee bit. Well, my mother's coming on Saturday. I could get her to stick a few packets in her suitcase, bring them over.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah, smuggling pork into fucking the Middle East. Yeah, it should be fine. Get a phone call, Greg, I'm at customs. Nah, they don't do anything. They just take it off you. In fact, I don't even know if they'd bother nowadays. But yeah, it's fine. So there you go. National Square Sausage Day. Let us know, listeners, how you intend to celebrate on the 25th of March. And I'm glad that we were able to give listeners a heads up ahead of that.
Yeah. So I'll have to put that in your calendar then, and maybe I'll get some. Maybe I'll go to Parkinson shop and see if I can get some. Get like a hard roll, like a well-fired roll, stick it in.
Yeah.
Bit of brown sauce.
You should have told me not to throw the Asians out in the first place. I did, but you did not persuade me, Nicholas. You did not persuade me.
Two names I never thought I would utter on the Culture Swally, but Morgan Freeman and Jet Li made probably their only ever appearance on the podcast in April on episode 98, as we looked at the 2005 film Unleashed, also known as Danny the Dog, where we also discovered that the Spar is the best supermarket in the whole of Glasgow. But in the news on that episode, we met a stormtrooper whose blaster caused a little bit of an issue on an Aberdeen train.
You know what I've always found fascinating about this whole situation of yours, Bart, buddy? How you basically turned a man into a dog.
Well, that's like my sainted mum used to say. Get them young enough, and the possibilities are endless.
My next story is from the Scottish Sun, Greg, and it's from today, 9th of April, and the headline is, May the Farce be with you. A Star Wars fanatic caused a full-scale firearms red alert when he stepped on a train dressed as a stormtrooper. A panicked passenger called police. Why is everyone calling the police nowadays for stuff that there's no need to? When they spotted Dan Gillespie's fake blaster, which he claims was holstered. He was quizzed by a guard before the train ground to a halt and headed back to Aberdeen. Dan revealed that he was then met by armed police and was banned from travelling until he got a bag for the toy gun. He claims he's been told never to get on a train in the £1,000 outfit again and is considering quitting cosplay for good after the scare. Dan, 50, said, "Crazy world we live in." The train stopped not long after I got out the station. A guard came up to chat asking about my blaster. Then he asked me to go with him for a chat. Apparently someone reported it to the police. The train went back to Aberdeen. I was met by 2 firearm officers, 3 Police Scotland officers and 2 British Transport Police officers. Dan revealed he was grilled on the train and in the station before he was escorted home by officers. He added, "I had to chat to them all on the train and then in an office. Then they took me home to get a bag for it and then back for another train. I was asked not to wear the stormtrooper armour on the train." Dan from Aberdeen has been a familiar sight in the city for more than a decade, patrolling the streets as the Grampian Stormtrooper. Sometimes he even wears a kilt as part of the outfit and confessed that he loves putting smiles on people's faces. On Saturday, he was heading to D-Con, a comic convention at Dundee University. After the train left, he suddenly became aware that something was wrong. He obviously sensed the disturbance in the force. He said, "I heard sirens from the train along with an announcement, not knowing why we stopped. I did hear the guard's side of call from my seat, so started suspecting maybe it was me. I'm sure passengers on the train were annoyed with me." Dan said he's often out and about wearing his full kit without problems. He added, "The blaster was holstered, so it wasn't even out. 2 weeks ago I was a trooper on the buses with no issue." A spokesman for British Transport Police said, "Officers received reports of a man with a firearm entering Aberdeen Station just before 9 a.m. on Saturday. Officers attended along with my colleagues from Police Scotland and it was determined that it was a false alarm. ScotRail confirmed that the train returned to Aberdeen." So, this poor lad has just been... He's dressing up in his cosplay. I mean, let's just say it. We've got a friend that dresses up as a stormtrooper as well, but I don't think he's ever boarded a train with his blaster out. But Dan says that his blaster was holstered. Have you ever got into trouble when you've been out cosplaying or in fancy dress on transport? Because I have
my blaster out. No, but I mean, I got to agree. I'm not someone who habitually dresses up. Never really have been. I know that you and our mutual friends used to quite enjoy wearing complimentary costumes at Halloween. I'm not going to say what any of them are apart from the Maverick and Goose ones, because some of the other ones might get us cancelled these days. But just remind
Posh and Beck's was
that
fine.
was okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Anyway.
The other one, not so much, no.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, I'm not someone who dresses up habitually, but I have to agree with Dan. I mean, that sounds like that's been somebody, like, just out of badness. Like, if I saw somebody who was clearly, even if it was like some sort of soldier costume that I didn't recognise, that was a bit sort of science fiction-y, and he had some sort of, like, clearly pretend fucking gun in its holster or otherwise, I wouldn't be like immediately dialing 999 to stick him in. So it just feels to me like someone's done that just out of badness. Or it's just some tightly wound fucking ne'er-do-well, you know what I mean? Just one of these people that just, you know.
I don't know. I mean, there's a photo of Dan with his blaster, and there's no way that you could think it was a proper firearm, really. Like, especially since he's wearing a full stormtrooper outfit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's maybe, who knows? Maybe it's someone that's panicked, or they thought he's some sort of terrorist, or I don't know. Maybe it was someone, you know, from the rebels that thought that something was amiss. Maybe it was an Ewok that
perhaps
phoned the police. Yeah. Like, you never know. So, don't know. But yeah, poor Dan.
Yeah, I feel genuinely sorry for him. I mean, the police, when they turned up, should have immediately realised that the guy's in fancy dress and the blaster is part of his costume. I mean, you gotta ask the police, how much time would that have taken for them to go through all that Dan described, fucking take him home, bring him back to the trains? I mean, fuck's sake. I mean, somebody could be like driving wild in a forklift. So, you know what I mean? The police are taking up, wasting their time with poor old Dan.
That's what I don't understand. I don't get from this, the fact they've taken him home and then taken him back to the train station. If the issue is that the gun has to be in a bag, then, you know, it's Aberdeen train station. Right, you go to WH Smith's and just get a carrier bag, put the gun in the bag, and do us a favour, just don't wear your helmet. Like, on the train, the rest of the armour's fine.
Yeah.
It's up to you. Just don't wear your helmet, keep the gun in the bag, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But to take him home and then obviously have to get a bag from home, why? It's W.H. Smith's or there's bloody...
fucking shopping centre. Get a bag,
shopping centre.
A bag for life from Sainsbury's or something like that. Stick it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. You're right. There could have been guys roaming around in forklifts. So it does seem a bit ridiculous, but never mind.
Well,
so
Stan says it's a crazy world.
It's a crazy world. And he was fine on the buses a couple of weeks ago.
Obviously, the buses are more tolerant than the British Transport Police.
Yeah, Olive loves a stormtrooper, so she'd have been fine. That's a very niche reference there. I couldn't remember the other. It's Reg Varney.
Reg Varney. I can't remember the other guy's name, and obviously Blakey, the conductor.
Oh, Blakey! I'll get you, butler. It's a very deep cut that's only for men of a certain age. I can imagine that Ali will probably be slapping his thigh at that one, and perhaps Andy as well. Henry won't have a fucking clue what we're talking about. Yeah. I'll be amazed if he does. I'll be delighted if he does, actually.
Hello, love.
Oh, good morning, Maddie. Maddie runs the best supermarket in all of Glasgow. Maddie, this is Danny.
Hello, Danny.
We celebrated our 100th episode in May of 2024, and we decided to revisit a firm favourite film of ours, Gregory's Girl, the wonderful tale of awkward young love as John Gordon Sinclair tries to woo the lovely, lovely, lovely Claire Grogan. But in the news on that episode, we had to try and protect our chips, as we came under attack from some XL Gullies.
Someone in the football team.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you told anyone else about this? Probably just a phase.
Well, from mad cows to mad birds, this is about, you and I have discussed these creatures before a few times. It's from the Daily Record, this story, and the headline reads, Scots city home to hardest seagulls, as locals have named XL Gullies.
Oh, Jesus.
After the XL bullies that I hadn't ever heard about until about 6 months ago when they started making headlines in the UK.
Yeah.
So it'll come as no surprise to regular listeners that we're talking about Aberdeen, reportedly home to the UK's worst seagulls, described as another level of psychotic. and out for blood. The country's most aggressive seagulls, dubbed XL Gullies, have been mapped out as they terrorise residents by stealing food, launching attacks, and even shoplifting. This follows a report by the Daily Star. On a giant top-level boss gull causing chaos in Liverpool city centre, leading to an increase in XL Gullies stealing people's pasties. Horror stories of gulls terrorising towns are all too familiar, but one city in Scotland is particularly renowned, reports the Daily Star. One user on Reddit recently asked, which town in the UK has the roughest seagulls? The question was quickly met with people claiming that Aberdeen was by far the worst, with routine attacks on people, just a normal day-to-day occurrence. One user wrote, Aberdeen, it's not even a close competition. There's a few who will regularly help themselves to stuff in shops. Routine attacks on people are normal. Oh, and they are fucking massive and hyper-aggressive. Plenty of towns have bad gull problems, but Aberdeen is a whole other level of psychotic bastard birds. Another agreed, adding, two of the vicious buggers nicked a baguette out my car boot.
Out his car boot? Fucking hell.
When I was loading my shopping, and then the others mobbed me when I tried to shut the boot. I've lived in a number of coastal areas in the UK, but the Aberdeen gulls are something else. Another chimed in, I moved from the Highlands to Aberdeen, and I thought Highland seagulls were the worst until my first encounter with an Aberdonian seagull. They are absolutely ruthless and will go for blood, which is sadly not an exaggeration. Councils in some coastal towns have been forced to publish survival guides on how to deal with the birds. At the University of Sussex in Brighton, freshers have been handed flyer flyers warning them that seagulls will rob them. One Reddit user acknowledged the issue in Brighton after being attacked themselves by gangs of vicious seagulls. But another touted St Ives as one of the worst places, adding, Cornish gulls are like pterodactyls. I've lived there my whole life. And a St Ives gull got me swooping over my shoulder and took my ice cream cone. One agreed, adding, yeah, I had one headbutt me.
Fucking seagull give you a malky.
I had one headbutt me and it fucked off with half my pasty.
I'd love to have seen that. A seagull come out, just headbutt someone and then nick half a pasty. Fucking brilliant.
And of course it wasn't long before somebody mentioned Wales. One piped up, in Rill, seagulls need asbos. Well, Lan Ludno, seagulls there are absolute psychopaths and will nail your ice creams on the pier. One row, I saw a guy drop us. Sorry. I'm sorry. One row, I saw a guy drop a seagull with an uppercut. I saw a guy drop a seagull with an uppercut after it stole his chips in Barmouth, Wales, when I was like 15 years old. I know that doesn't speak much for the roughness of Seagull's lair, but it's a fun story that I like to reminisce about. I mean, well, we've spoken about the seagulls in Aberdeen many times in this podcast, but I mean, they do seem big in Aberdeen, especially when you see them flying low with their wings right out. They're like fucking albatrosses. So they're
huge. They're absolutely huge in Aberdeen. Yeah, and it can be quite scary sometimes, just roaming about there. But they're vicious bastards, yeah. Mm-hmm. Really are.
I mean, I know I said before, but I'll never forget when I was up in Aberdeen visiting you guys and walking up Belmont Street and seeing like a Robert Gordon's kid being relieved of his lunch by a swooping seagull. I'd never seen anything like it in my fucking life. I mean, they're so bold.
They just don't give a shit, though. But that's just the way they are.
It's kind of part of the charm, in a way, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I don't mind them, actually. I quite like them.
Yeah.
Like as I say, I've told the story as well on the Swally before. Like we, at Pittodrie, Aberdeen's football ground, there's a big problem with seagulls. They go all round. So they did employ, I think it was a falcon to scare off the seagulls. And then until one day that the falcon got hold of a seagull in the middle of the pitch and just fucking destroyed it. And it was like crying kids and stuff. So the falcon got swiftly removed. And we now have a mascot called Sammy the Seagull. So I guess in tribute to the dead seagull.
So I say, another victory for the seagulls there in Aberdeen.
Never mind. Oh well.
Yeah.
Oh.
Off you go, you small boys.
Episode 101 was under threat from torture computers as we looked at the very, very, very problematic sequel, Gregory's Two Girls, from 1999. Some things are just best left alone. But in the news, we were outraged at Marks & Spencer's for selling shitey bags in their Edinburgh store. Also on that episode, we met a legend who got a tattoo of Scotland's favourite granny.
Christ, I could never be a teacher, Greg. How'd you put up with it? Day in, day out, smelling it, wafting past you along the corridors.
My first story is from the Scottish Sun this week, Greg, and the headline is Folly Bag. Marks & Spencer are facing the furious wrath of the Tartan Army after plugging England bags in one of their most famous Scottish stores. M&S is the official partner of both national sides, but fans were left gobsmacked after spotting the bags emblazoned with the Three Lions crest at Edinburgh Waverley Station on Sunday. The carriers are placed around the checkouts in the busy shop, but there were none displaying the Scotland badge. Speaking 1 month before the tournament opener against Germany, Ian Emerson, editor of the famous Tartan Army magazine, said, "It seems a mistake and a missed opportunity on their part not to have any Scotland ones in this shop. Perhaps they never thought we were going to qualify, or maybe they just didn't do their research correctly. I'm pretty certain that if they stocked the Scotland ones, the sales of them would go through the roof. These days have changed. This is our second qualification in a row. If they aren't planning to get already, I would urge Marks & Spencer's to get the Scotland ones in stock." Pictures of the bags inside Waverley were first shared by an outraged fan on social media. He wrote, "Today in M&S, in the main train station, at the capital city of this country. We really do get treated like a fucking joke. One Scotland fan commented, it's terrible they're in Waverley Station, in Scotland's capital. I'd rather put the products back than get one of those bags. Another said, the SFA have the same sponsorship with them, so would it be more appropriate if they used our badge? And a third replied, who cares? Just don't buy them. Marks and Spencers have been approached for comment. So, outrage that Edinburgh Marks and Spencers are selling bags, and there's photos of the carrier bag. It's just it's a carrier bag, but yeah, it does have the 3 lions, and it does say officials partner of the England team. Bit of a misstep. You don't do that, do you? I mean, well, Edinburgh maybe is fine, but you don't do that in Scotland. You can't be getting away with that.
Fucked it. Definitely fucked it. But I mean, if those fans want to feel better, they should maybe watch that The Final documentary on Netflix that I put you onto. That will cheer them right up. If you want to watch it.
Yeah, I did enjoy that.
90 minutes of really upset England fans talking about their day out and what a shambles it ended in.
Yeah, it's their own fucking fault, most of them. It was carnage. I did feel sorry for some of the people in that documentary, like the Italian guy and his daughter, obviously. Then, you know, there was a few, the journalist, I think, that was there with his dad.
Yeah.
Felt sorry for him as well. And oh God, it must have just been absolute fucking carnage. Yeah. But yeah, so of course the Euros kicks off in a few weeks, and they're selling those bags in Edinburgh. It's shocking behaviour. We don't do that.
We'll be able to take maybe a game or two in when we're together in Edinburgh as well, won't we?
Well, when we're in Edinburgh, it's the semi-finals. So we will see one of the semi-finals, I think, on the first night we're there. But then the second one, we are at a concert, so we won't see that game. So we'll have to wait and see about that. But it will still be fun to see. But yeah, it's just, it's not the done thing. And as I say, that is the thing, as the fans are saying, like, you know, come on, you're an official partner with Scotland as well. Why not have bags with the Scotland badge? It could have been a mix-up. Maybe someone, you know, there's been a mix-up, the wrong bags have been delivered, some staff members not realised and put them out by mistake. But, you know, you can't be doing that. I mean, because we do have, it is like a bit of fun and banter, but, you know,
it's also really serious.
Well, it is, it is. Like, I remember, back in, was it 2006, I think, World Cup, that Scotland hadn't qualified, but England had, and then they were drawn in the group with Trinidad and Tobago. And at that time, Jason Scotland played for Trinidad and Tobago, and you could not get a Trinidad and Tobago top in Scotland for love nor money, because they sold out everywhere, instant. And everyone was getting Scotland on the back. And, you know, it was just fun about it. I remember I feel we do have a lot of listeners in England, so I'm really sorry about this. Like, it's not the thing, but it is just our way. I have such fond memories. The night before I went on my first ever lads holiday, I went to Ayia Napa with 3 friends when I was 17. Yeah, 17. And the night before was England against Argentina in the World Cup.
That'd been 98.
France,
98.
98, yeah. France 98. And obviously England lost. On penalties. And we watched it, we're only 17, so I don't think we could get into a pub. We watched it at my friend's auntie's house, because we were flying from Glasgow airport.
Right.
And so we went down to Glasgow, we were staying there overnight and then getting a flight in the morning. And we watched the game and we were hungry. So then we went out to the Chipper, and I can't remember which fish and chip shop it was, but we went there and there was a guy in front of us who looked miserable. And the woman behind the counter said to him, "Why are you looking so fucking miserable? Cheer up. England are out the World Cup." And burst out laughing. And then when we landed in Ayia Napa the next morning, the first thing we did, found a little market and we bought 4 fake Argentina tops. Bore them pretty much the whole holiday. Because that's how fucking petty we are.
I'm sure I've told this story on the Swally before, but where in 2001 I was in Ibiza with a mutual friend, another mutual friend who is a sort of Minecraft YouTube guy now, which I still can't quite believe because he's a year older than me, and a guy who I'll just name called Alan McLean, who we didn't know very well, right? We hadn't known Alan for very long, and he was a fair bit younger than the rest of us. I think I'd have been like 23. I think Alan was like 19 or something. And England were playing Greece, and Scotland, I can't remember who Scotland were playing, but they were playing later on, and we were going to watch the England game in the Highlander pub in San Antonio, but they couldn't get it to work. So Alan really wanted to watch it, and he was wearing a Scotland strip. So I said, well, I'll come with you and we'll find a pub to watch it. So we went to like a pub a few doors down. Of course, it's like full of England fans watching a game. And if you remember, and I said to him, I said, listen, no matter what happened, just don't react, right? Just don't be a prick. These guys want to see their team win. We're on holiday, right? And he's like, yeah, no problem. So if you remember, Greece, England did win the game, but Greece scored first, like reasonably early in the first half.
Yeah.
And Alan just goes, yes! Like, starts jumping up and down. It's like, we had to leave. I had to fucking, I mean, like, we stayed for a few minutes after when the game like kicked off again. I was like, come on, Alan, we've got to get the fuck out of here.
Was that the 1-1 draw? Was that the one where Beckham scored the free kick in the last minute?
Yeah. It was. I mean, I'd have to say, I have to give it to Beckham. It was a fucking amazing free kick that he scored. To be fair.
It was actually. It was an absolute perler, and to score it, like, it was in the last minute, and that was to send them to the World Cup. Like, it's
you mentioned Trinidad and Tobago. I can't remember who England were playing, but it was recent, like in the last few years, maybe like just before the pandemic, and they were playing like some African team, I think, can't remember which one, and they've got this, like, there was a photograph and there's a sea of like obviously black fans, and then just in the middle of the photograph a couple of guys, white guys with kilts and Scotland tops on. Fucking really made me laugh. Really made me laugh. Anybody but England, you know.
Yeah, never underestimate our pettiness. Never mind. Apologies to all of our English listeners there. Like, we, you know, it's just fun and banter. We don't take it seriously, but
we wish you all the very best of luck with the Euros.
No, we fucking do.
Fraser might be a bit of a tosser, but I don't think he hurts people. He makes bits for computers.
And some of these bits hurt people.
Well, this one's come up quite reasonably ironic, since we covered Supergran a few episodes ago. But this is from the Daily Record. Recently, Gudrun Ure, who played Supergran, passed away at the ripe old age of 94. But this story,
98. I think,
sorry, I beg your pardon. Yeah, 98, which is an incredible innings. But this story comes from the Daily Record just in today, which is the 19th of May. Supergran mega fan. Bet you never knew that someone like that existed. Gets attacked.
That could fit into this song.
Good.
Supergran mega fan. Supergran mega fan.
So Supergran mega fan gets a tattoo of the iconic character inked on his bum. This is Gregor Sanders, who's the same age as me, 45. He got the large tattoo of the late actress Gudrun Ure in her most famous role. The portrait was completed at Fat Buddha Tattoos in New Stevenson in North Lanarkshire. Gregor has long joked about the idea, but he decided to go through with it to raise money for charity, raising almost £1,100 for Alzheimer's Scotland. The accounts assistant had it done last year, but he revealed it this week following the death of Gudrun, played Supergran. Gregor from Motherwell said, "I'm 45 now. I grew up with a theme tune and everyone knows Supergran. So I thought, why not?" I had a conversation with a friend and I said I'd get Supergran in my backside, and I actually carried the idea through. I was fully committed. Alzheimer's Scotland also sent out a t-shirt for me to wear, so I wore that on the day as well. I'm surprised they'd send somebody out to make sure he was okay. You okay, hon? Tattoo artist Jason Lau was happy to join in on the fun. He said Gregor has been in before for tattoos. He'd had a bit of a joke going on with a few of his pals that he was going to get a Supergran tattoo. They all grew up knowing Supergran, so it felt like an iconic image. The portrait took 5 hours, and the result 5 hours, and the result might just be Jason's favourite work yet. He added, "It's only people who are in their 30s that seem to recognise it." I mean, I wouldn't even say that. I think people in their 40s and 50s perhaps.
Definitely.
Younger people have thought it's just a portrait of his gran. So
why is he showing younger people his arse?
I know. Do you want to see my tattoo? So yeah, I'll put the picture up on our socials. It doesn't show the crack of Gregor's arse, so I think we'll be safe. Just it's a close up. It's a close up of the tattoo itself. The day the record also playing it safe by not showing Gregor's arse crack. So yeah,
don't need to see that.
We don't need to see it. So if you were going to get an iconic Scottish character tattooed somewhere in your body, who would you get? Where would you get it?
An iconic Scottish character, and where would I get it? You know what? Like almost like a pin-up girl tattoo.
Oh yeah,
of Maggie Brune on my arm.
That's a great idea. It's a really good one, yeah.
That is a really good idea. It's just come to me. And then maybe Daphne on my arse.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you got it on your back so you couldn't see the tattoo artist's progress, what if he got Maggie and Daphne mixed up? You thought you were getting beautiful, glamorous Maggie, and you got sort of frumpy Daphne instead.
Well, then I've just got to live with that, Greg. Unfortunately, then I've just got to have Daphne Brune on my arm for the rest of my life. I think that would, I quite fancy that. Like Maggie Brune is like a pin-up girl kind of style. I wonder. I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head. What about you? What would you go for?
I don't know. I mean, that Maggie Brune one's going to be difficult to top, I think. Who would I get? Because I was thinking...
Did you get the photos I sent you a few months ago of Lorraine Kelly?
I feel like I could probably be... I feel like if Lorraine Kelly saw that artwork on my body, she would have grounds to take some legal action against me, I think. I don't think... Something tell... I mean, Lorraine Kelly's obviously the loveliest lady on television, but I don't think she'd be too impressed with that. I was going to say Ur Willie until you sort of like inadvertently trumped me with your Maggie Brune idea. So I don't know. But yeah, maybe Ur Willie, soapy suitor.
We're going to be booking a tattoo studio in Edinburgh when we're there and get some Maggie Brune pin-up tattoos.
Well, I did think about maybe getting a tattoo, but the thing is, every time I get a tattoo when I'm at home, it's always like the day before I fly. And I don't know if it's because of the cabin pressure or whatever, but it always hurts a bit. You know what I mean? Because obviously the cabin pressure has affects your blood and how thin your blood is and everything, and it always hurts a bit more. But so yeah, maybe we could do that. I mean, our mutual friend would just be absolutely horrified if you and I got matching Maggie Brune as a pin-up girl. Yeah, like the sort of pin-up that the American pilots would paint on the front of their B-52s before they flew off to Germany. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Exactly. That's exactly my thought. Yeah, and I'm sure there must be some artwork out there of that, or we could pay someone on Fiverr to.
I could maybe
draw that.
I could maybe draw it. Yeah, maybe I could draw it. Yeah, maybe.
I don't think I'll get that done. But it would be maybe. I don't know. I'll have a think about it.
Yeah, I don't think my wife would be too impressed. I might have to get him to do Maggie Brune, but as a sort of West Indian variant Maggie Brune, just to keep my wife happy.
Maggie Brune's been on the sunbeds.
Yeah, I need you to black up Maggie, and you know.
Okay, I'm leaving that there.
Okay. Yeah, probably wise.
Francis, it's Beaver. Of course, I didn't mean Francis Beaver Badger. It's Francis Badger. There's, her Beaver. I mean, it's a bit of a mouthful.
2024 saw the release of a new series of Rebus, which is absolutely brilliant. But in June, on episode 102, we looked at the original series from 2000, starring the wonderful John Hannah. But, shock horror, in the news on that episode, the patron saint of the Culture Swally himself, Sir James Cosmo, ran into a bit of trouble at the airport and had to quickly post something back to himself.
Barks was the kind of place that must have seemed like a good idea 5 years ago. It was lit dimmer than a Pilton phone box, which meant I couldn't see much. And what I could see, I didn't like.
Well, Cosmo news. Cosmo's in the Cosmo is in the Daily Record. I mean, it's quite amazing that we've been doing the podcast now since 2020, and we talk about Cosmo all the time, and he's never made the news. This week he's here. So it comes from the Daily Record on the 22nd of May. Scots actor James Cosmo in airport drama after I'm going to struggle to get through this. I'm really sorry. After trying to board a plane with a penknife, the veteran actor always carries the veteran actor always carries a penknife with him because, quote, because he's an old man. So, Braveheart, this is the Daily Record's words, not mine. Braveheart star James Cosmo faced an airport drama when he tried to board a plane with his trusty penknife. The veteran actor says he always carries a penknife with him because he's an old man. Might have to do a bit of whittling or get a stone out of a horse's hoof or something.
Exactly.
But when he was flying home to Scotland from London to attend the Daily Record's Pride of Scotland Awards, airport staff wouldn't let him board with a small weapon. The 76-year-old from Clydebank said, I always carry a penknife in my pocket because I'm an old man. And since a boy, I've carried a penknife. When I got to the airport, I thought, hang on, I've got a knife in my pocket. When I got to the gate, how the fuck did he get it through security?
Yeah.
When I got to the gate, British Airways staff said I'd have to put my bag in the hold and I couldn't take it on board. They wanted to charge me £75 to put it in the hold. But the wily star got around the ban by posting the knife to himself via the Royal Mail. He said, I just went to the post office up the road at the airport and posted it back to me. Cost me £3.70. James was presenting an award at the Glitzy Bash in Glasgow's Hilton Hotel. Screen legend James, now this'll trouble you, Nicky, screen legend James, who also starred in Game of Thrones and Trainspotting, also revealed that he's about to star with none other than Martin Compston in a new series for Amazon called Fear. And I think we know which one of those actors will have the fear. Give you a clue. It's not Cosmo.
They've obviously made up now then.
Yeah, I'm sure they've made up after. I'm sure Martin Compston's paid his debt to the Cosmo household. Cosmo goes on to say, my life is chaotic. James presented an award to Lifetime Achievement winner Elaine Wiley, who created the Daily Mail Health Initiative for Kids alongside Monarch of the Glen actor Dawn Steele. So this needs to be onto a game, but before the game, I mean, I was just under the impression that everywhere Cosmo went, Costello was there just as a bit of an assistant when he wasn't working. I thought he just slipped Cosmo £100 and told him to jump on the train with his penknife.
I don't want you to keep your nose clean. I want you to sniff about in the shite like you always do.
Jack Loudon and Peter Mullen put on an acting masterclass as they portrayed old Tom Morris and young Tom Morris in the 2016 golfing film Tommy's Honour, which we looked at episode 103 of the Culture Swally back in June 2024. But in the news, we met a prisoner who had a very different use for his Kinder Eggs.
I'll be sending money home, Dad, just like you did. I will.
You work for your father, Tommy. Working for another man, that's an altogether different matter. What do you know of Molesworth? What do you know of England?
I've gone back old school, Greg. Let's go back old school and have a proper good old Swally story. So this is from the Falkirk Herald this week.
Of course.
The headline is contained. Larbert offender claimed he had a Kinder Egg hidden in an intimate place. A drunk offender who told police he had no fear of going into custody because he had a Kinder Egg hidden away up his rear end has now found himself contained overnight for the next few months. Mark Thompson, 26, appeared at Falkirk Sheriff Court on Thursday, having admitted threatening behaviour and assault at KFC Argyle Street, Glasgow on March the 13th, 2022. At a previous appearance, Procurator Fiscal Amy Snedden said, "It was 1:20 a.m. and the accused was within KFC in Glasgow when he became angry with a man. He slapped him across the face with the back of his hand. The accused was then escorted from the premises and police officers attended. He was taken towards the rear of the police van and began to become threatening and abusive towards officers." Again, why do people do that? During his rant, Thompson told an officer he was not concerned about going to prison because he would get a SIM card in jail, and claimed he had a Kinder Egg secreted inside his posterior. He then told the officer, "I'll bomb your car." At the time, John Mulholland, defenceless...
26, you say?
26, yeah. At the time, John Mulholland, defence solicitor, said he accepts this was disgraceful conduct, and he only remembers it up to a certain point. During his previous appearance, it was stated that Thompson, 37, Karen View, Larbert, so if you want to go and visit John, was not prepared to comply with the restriction of liberty order. I take it from that you are looking for a custodial sentence, said Sheriff Mayam Laback, noting from his earlier Kinder Egg comments that Thompson had no fear of going into custody. She deferred sentence until May the 30th for a supplementary criminal justice social work report to clarify Thompson's position regarding a restriction of liberty order, then placed Thompson on a community payback order with the condition he complete 225 hours of unpaid work within 18 months. She also placed him on a restriction of liberty order, meaning he must remain home from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. for the next 3 months. Noting the time of day he committed his offences, she said, I think you could be doing with being contained during the night. So, I'll get a SIM card in jail, I have a Kinder Egg up my bum. And then saying, I'll bomb your car. So he doesn't say if there's anything in the Kinder Egg or if it's just a Kinder Egg that he's got up his bum. So
it's just for he's keeping secret things, keeping private things, isn't it?
I'll get maybe he's bragging because he's saying, I'll get a SIM card in jail, and maybe he's saying, look, I can fit a Kinder Egg up my bum. I'll be fine in jail. The amount of stuff I can smuggle up there is fine. I mean, I'm sure after his time in jail, you'd be able to smuggle probably a fucking Easter egg.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fabergé. The old prison wallet. Yeah, I mean, it's people are weird, right? So 26 years old. I mean, when you were 26, you were living in Dubai by that point?
No, I was still in Aberdeen. I was 27 when I moved to Dubai.
Okay, so you were almost living in Dubai. Yeah, good job. And there's somebody else who is threatening people in KFC in the middle of the night and telling a policeman he's going to bomb his car.
Yeah. It's not the done thing, really, is it?
I mean, it's not very smart, is it?
No, I think it's a...
And we've said before, I mean, what's the best case outcome of telling a policeman you're going to bomb his car?
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, I've never found myself in a position that I've been in a police van or been in trouble with the police. But if that was to ever happen to me, I think I would just be complying, apologising, saying I was sorry, probably begging. I'm not going to be kicking off and saying, I'm going to bomb your car. Yeah. I've got a Kinder Egg up my arse. I'll get a SIM card in jail. No, definitely not. I think it's not the correct way to go about things.
No, indeed, silly bastard.
No. Anyway, well, so he'll be stuck at home. So we gave out his address. So if anyone wants to go and visit him, you know where he'll be, and he'll be there between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. most days for the next 3 months.
That woman you're squiring for the whole town to see. Do you know the first thing about her, Tommy? Besides what you're wanting from her?
Nancy.
A fornicatrix!
Episode 104 came out in July, and we discussed the second series of the wonderful TV show, The Field of Blood. At that time, Scotland was full of friendship bracelets, as Taylor Swift took her Eras tour to Murrayfield. But one American fan didn't enjoy the Scottish banter at the gig.
You still eating them things?
You should lay off the fish suppers.
I've never had any complaints.
Really? Because for someone with a reputation as a lich, I've never actually seen you with a woman.
Well, I chose this one really just so I could do the accent. As we mentioned in the last episode a couple of weeks ago, the news was sort of full of Scotland's European adventure, the Scotland football team, that is, and Taylor Swift being in Murrayfield. So this is stories about an American Taylor Swift fan who travelled all the way from America to Edinburgh to watch Taylor in action. So the headline reads, "Drunk Taylor Swift fans can ruin Eras tour," claims US TikToker. So an American TikToker who initially loved seeing Taylor Swift in Edinburgh has suggested that drunk fans can ruin the tour. Stephanie Matto warned people not to go to other gigs and criticised people in the audience who had drunk too much. The Swiftie has been following the singer across her tour and was left disgruntled after the show in Edinburgh, reports Edinburgh Live. Stephanie said on TikTok, "I just went to the Eras tour in Edinburgh, Scotland, and I don't think you should go there. I know people online are romanticising the Eras tour, saying it's incredible and it's the most amazing thing they've ever seen. But I'm here to burst that bubble. First of all, do not go to the Eras Tour if you do not like standing. Even if you purchase a seat, odds are you'll be standing the entire evening. And this show goes for 3 hours. But you're going to be standing for over 3 hours because the person in front of you is going to be standing. And if you want to sit down, you aren't going to be able to see. Another reason you shouldn't go is if you want to hear Taylor Swift sing. Because yes, you're going to hear her sing at the show, but you're also going to be hearing 70,000 other people screaming her songs along with her. It's kind of like a Taylor Swift concert / sing-along. I don't know if Stephanie's ever been to a concert before. It's maybe her first time.
Especially not in Scotland.
Well, she's sort of like describing all the virtues of going to see your favourite singer or band live. She then added, "You're not going to enjoy yourself with the Eras Tour if you're someone who doesn't enjoy alcohol. I noticed so many people who had drunk way too much. They were either passed out or outside of the arena or were being escorted out. If you're claustrophobic, germophobic, and can't stand waiting in lines, honestly, I don't think the Eras Tour is for the faint heart. Maybe it's okay if somebody's a stay-at-home Swiftie." So, basically, when you and I were more regular concert goers, she's just described all the things that we enjoyed about going to concerts. Singing along, getting singing along, getting smashed.
Getting thrown out for crowd surfing.
Getting thrown out for crowd surfing.
Fucking ocean colour cunts. That's a concert. I mean, okay, I'm going to a concert this evening. It's not going to be like that, I would imagine, because I'm going to see Belle and Sebastian, so it's not going to be like a hardcore kind of everyone up and jumping around and stuff. But yeah, that's the whole point of a concert. That's what makes it.
It's the atmosphere, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've been to a few concerts recently, and I'm obviously older now, so I kind of tend to stand at the back and just observe, and I like to have a good view of the stage and see the band. But yeah, back in the day when I was younger, I remember seeing Public Enemy at the music hall in Aberdeen and being in the front row, and Flavor Flav gave me a high five, and I was just fucking crushed up against the barrier, but it was fucking amazing. That's how I would do. Whereas nowadays, I would probably just stand at the back and watch from afar.
I mean, I was, when you mentioning seeing Public Enemy reminded me of when we saw the Wu-Tang Clan at Tina Park in 2004. Yeah. I mean, I remember us starting off pretty close to the front.
I think we're about 3 or 4 rows in the front, weren't we?
Yeah. I think we sort of got maybe funneled back a little bit as the show went on a wee bit, maybe, but we were still, for the whole thing, really close to the stage. You know what I mean? Which was cool, seeing those guys up front and things. I remember, I was sort of thinking about Stephanie's comments there. I remember going to see the Manic Street Preachers in the Barrowlands in the kind of mid-90s, and I can't remember if they were touring Gold for the Soul or Holy Bible. But the Barrowlands, the ceiling is very low. It's not like a big open air stadium like Murrayfield, obviously. It's a fucking dance hall. And people were going fucking mental. I mean, it was humid in the room by the time they had finished, just with the sweat of pogoing and dancing and jumping Mannix fans. I mean, intense, but it was... I remember leaving I remember being at it and thinking, I don't know how comfortable I am here, but then sort of coming out into the sort of night air after the concert, just absolutely buzzing. And they would have played for an hour. It's not even it's a long sort of 3-hour Taylor Swift concert. I imagine probably played for an hour, maybe even an hour and a half. I can't quite remember. That was sort of 30 years ago, but.
My first ever gig at the Barrowlands, I was 15 years old, and I went to see White Zombie at the Barrowlands, and that was just fucking carnage.
I can imagine.
It was amazing, but it was fucking carnage. It was wonderful. What a gig. But yeah.
White Zombie. My first one was Soul Asylum at the Barrowlands, which was maybe about a year before that Mannix concert. And so imagine seeing Soul Asylum in it. And I still really like them, but I fucking really liked them back then. So it's all this swaying, is that sort of thing, and cheering and stuff, and then the Mannix, when they're sort of going through their first 2 or 3 albums worth of stuff, like before Everything Must Go, when they became a bit sort of anthemic, but I mean, it was like a great kind of punky fast stuff and all that. It was just, it was like being in a different venue. It really was.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. It must have been incredible. Fucking hell.
Yeah. And we'll be seeing them again in just a week and a bit.
We will. Yes, we will. Certainly will be. It'll be a bit more subdued, I think, at Edinburgh Castle. Like, I don't know if I'll get thrown out for crowd surfing.
Well, I think I've seen the Manics live more than I've seen any other bands. I saw them at the Barrowlands. I saw them at Tina Park in 1996. I saw them at the SECC at the concert that you were supposed to come down for, but then you weren't able to come. You were hernia or something like that. I can't remember. And then I can't remember.
I think I had a job interview, I think.
Oh, yeah. Probably. And then, this will be the 4th time then that I've seen them.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'd say the band I've seen most... Well, I've seen the Manics. I think I've seen them 3 times. This will be the 4th time I've seen them. The band I've seen the most is probably Supergrass.
Oh, really? They're good live. Yeah. I've only seen them once. They're really good.
I think I've seen them about 8 times. Wow. Just been to a couple of gigs and then a couple of random, like they were supporting someone, one gig, and then it was V99, I think, or V2000. I think it was Cooler Shaker were meant to play, but they pulled out, and then Supergrass stood in for them, and I was like, fuck it. Brilliant. This is better. Fuck Cooler Shaker. This is a lot better. It's Supergrass.
Cooler Shaker were also a good live band back in the day, but they not as enduring as Supergrass.
They were playing Amsterdam in a few weeks, and I looked and I was like, I might go and see Cooler Shaker, and then I was like, it was like something like €50 a ticket, and I'm like, I don't like Cooler Shaker that much to pay that. Like, fuck that. Like,
50.
No. Where are you getting off on that? Charging that? Like, I think in late August, I'm going to see, or October, I'm going to see Camera Obscura, and they were charging like €32 a ticket. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Where did Cooler Shaker get off paying fucking €50 a ticket? That's obscene.
Brilliant. Well, anyway, that's Stephanie. This accent is, I will admit, has hurt my throat a little bit. But anyway, I'm sure it'll be all right.
Why am I telling you this?
The drugs, probably.
Yeah, that's it. Just forget I said it. I'm delusional. I'm so drugged up I've woke up gay.
We waxed lyrical about Johnny Lee Miller's amazing Scottish accent on episode 106 in August, as we looked at the 2006 film The Flying Scotsman, following the life of Graham Aubrey as he tries to break the 1-hour record on a bike made from parts of a washing machine. But in the news, we met a tourist who travelled to Glasgow and was left very disappointed by some of the finer works of art.
Let's get one thing straight, Malky. I know what I'm doing here. Maybe it doesn't look like it, but this bike's been built according to the laws of physics. There's a scientific reason for every single bit of design, and that's how I'm going to break the record, with or without you.
Graham, he's trying to help you, that's all.
Well, I don't need his help.
My first story comes from the Scottish Sun this week, Greg, and the headline is Royal Blunder. One of Scotland's best-loved museums left visitors disappointed after a bizarre mix-up over its name. A woman, known only as Emma M, left a 3-star review on TripAdvisor following a trip to the Burrel Collection in Glasgow. She made a round trip of over 400 miles from her home in Whitby, Yorkshire, to visit what she had hoped was a museum dedicated to royal butler Paul Burrell and the late Princess Diana.
No, she never. Surely not.
The renowned visitors attraction, named after its founders, Sir William Burrell and Lady Constance Burrell, houses a 9,000-piece art collection spanning the world and renowned after a 5-year, $68.2 million refit in 2022. But the bizarre review showed the haphazard visitors were unaware. The post said, where's she from? Yorkshire. Came because we wanted to see the collection of letters, clothes, household items and jewellery the late Princess Diana gave and left her butler and rock Paul Burrell. We're big Diana fans and we were looking forward to an afternoon of royal magic.
She must be taking
Just to make others aware, this museum has nothing to do with Lady Di and it is not Paul Burrell's collection of her items. It's a lovely venue, though. The tea was nice, but they need to clarify that it has nothing to do with Paul Burrell, Princess Diana, or the royal family, so others aren't disappointed like we were. Mr. Burrell, 66, became a footman for Queen Elizabeth II when he was just 18. He then became a butler for Charles and Diana in 1987, and the late Princess of Wales described him as her rock during the hard times. It's not the first time that visitors have been left disappointed by Scottish tourist attractions. We told recently that tourists left a 1-star review for Loch Ness, complaining that they failed to spot the monster. The man, known only as Ron, said, "What a disappointment. We travelled 400 miles from Grimsby to see the Loch Ness Monster, and it didn't show up. Don't go if you're wanting to see it, because you'll end up bitterly disappointed like we were." Meanwhile, a reviewer from Coatbridge, Lanarkshire, complained about a lack of toilets and shops at the summit of Ben Nevis. He also hit out about snow on top of the mountain, adding, "Won't be long till someone has an accident." Hit out. A bemused traveller, Henry from Stockholm, said that the top of the hill was just a pile of rocks, and he was left stunned that there wasn't a pub at the summit. He added, "My girlfriend vomited 5 times on the way up because of exhaustion and fear of heights. We lost several hours of our lives climbing this hill for nothing. No views of anything, since the summit is just in constant fog. The top is literally a pile of rocks and an emergency shelter, and there is no pub on the top." One visitor to Edinburgh Castle told visitors to avoid the monument. Their 1-star review said, "It looks good from outside, but once you're inside, you quickly question your choice of being there. I tell you, avoid it." So, that review has to be a piss take for the Burrell Collection. It has to be.
I was interested that the one achievement that the son left off of Paul Burrell's list of achievements is that he once ate a kangaroo's knob on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here in 2004.
I knew you were going to say something about I'm a Celebrity, but I didn't know it was going to be the kangaroo's knob.
Do you know, on Ben Nevis, I was saying not that long ago, maybe like sort of 20 years or so ago, some people found a piano near the summit of Ben Nevis, and it was a bit of a mystery to begin with, but then some people remembered that a kind of strong man in an attempted feat of endurance pushed a piano to the top of Ben Nevis, like maybe pre-war or something like that, and apparently he made it to the top, but as far as he could go with it, and then when they faced with the prospect of taking it back down, he was like, "Fuck that!" Just left it, cut himself back down. But yeah, it was. I think it sort of slipped out of memory. I think, and then somebody kind of found a local paper, or maybe even like the national paper or something of the time, like some information about it.
Surely it'd be easier to take it down than it would be taking it up. You've done the hard work. You can just push it down, surely.
Yeah, it's going to be able to tune and all that into it. Fucking point.
Exactly, yeah.
Take longer to tune it than, unless you get Morgan Freeman round, who apparently can tune a piano in 2 minutes and teach a fucking hard as fuck Asian guy how to do it in 2 minutes as well. You have to go back to a previous episode of the Culture Swally to know what we're talking about.
Yes, I can't remember the number of the episode, but that's Unleashed. We did that this year, didn't we? So it was earlier this year.
Yeah, it was a few months ago. Yeah.
So that is the Burrell Collection. So that is a warning if anyone was wanting to go to the Burrell Collection. It's nothing to do with Paul Burrell and Queen of Hearts, Lady Di.
All there is priceless works of art, you know. That's all there is.
Really.
It's
quite boring, really. I was hoping to see like a hanky or a letter that Di had written to Paul Burrell, calling him her rock. Yeah. Not the Dwayne Johnson, just to make that clear.
That's not even a pub.
Yeah, there's not even a pub in the Burrell Collection, no. But they serve a lovely cup of tea.
You English are mad. You want to know what mad is? Try calling me English again.
We were improvising on episode 107 of the podcast in August as we watched the James McAvoy film My Son, in which a man tries to find his missing son. But in the news, we discussed a toastie salesman who is offering a very special perk on his toasties.
And the only person he could talk to about it was me, because you weren't here. So I had to deal with our son being upset about something that I was really happy about.
I'm really sorry about that.
So we've had over the years, we've had a few stories about Scottish seaside seagulls. The last one we had was about the XL Gullies of Aberdeen, which I'm quite disappointed that hasn't caught on, that phrase. It's quite funny. But this is one from the Scottish Sun on the 4th of August. Swoop and Sandwich. Scott's seaside cafe offers seagull insurance as dozens of customers keep having their toasties stolen by dive-bombing birds. So this is Sam Lang, the proprietor of the Cheesy Toast Shack. If you pay an extra 50p for your sandwich, if a seagull nicks it, he'll give you a replacement free of charge. He reckons the hungry raiders feast on up to 30 of his lunchtime favourites daily by dive-bombing diners. This is in St Andrews in Fife. He's had a t-shirt made for his cheesy toasty shack with a cartoon of a seagull on it with sunglasses on. I wonder if him and the seagulls are collaborating. Previously, he paid for replacement sandwiches out of his own pocket, but he admitted it is unreal that it's come to this. The seagulls are insane here. They're a real pain and it's a big problem. On a busy day, customers are standing in line for an hour to get a toasty. I mean, there's fucking no way I would stand in line to get a toasty. You'd be quicker going home and making one yourself. You know what I mean? An hour. On a busy day, customers are standing in line for an hour to get a toasty, and every single day, seagulls are stealing them. I used to replace them with no questions asked, but that's costing us too much money now. Can't afford to do it anymore. The seagull insurance would give them a bit of protection and mean they get a new toasty straight away. Sam has also installed eagle-shaped kites and birds of prey sound effects, but they haven't worked. He's warned that people have been left with cut fingers after birds have attacked them. It's not a joke anymore. We beg to differ. I'm worried that it will keep the customers away. The Scottish Sun's reporter saw one of the seagulls spill Rachel Pryor's can of Iron Brew while dashing off with her pal's mac and cheese toasty. What's your thoughts on a mac and cheese toasty?
Look, I like mac and cheese,
yeah,
right? However, when I was at Pittodrie in February, that's the first time I've had a macaroni pie, and it'll be the last time I have a macaroni pie. So I think I'm just going to stick with just macaroni and cheese on its own.
Yeah.
I don't fancy it in a toast.
I think the toast would have to be, the bread would have to be really, really super toasted. So it's going to get really soggy really quickly otherwise, isn't it? I think, yeah. Worker Pat Dodds, 76, who has worked at the nearby Harbour Cafe for 41 years, said that the birds sit on the roof and wait for someone to come out. They'll take anything they can. Seaside stall owner Tony Goff was gutted when his bacon roll was nabbed after being left unguarded for just a few seconds, and he has to keep sponges and cloths to wipe bird shits off the pictures he sells to tourists. He warned, what's the answer? I've got no idea, but there needs to be action because it's getting pretty horrific. I think that's the end of the story. There's lots of pictures and videos with this story. There's a picture of a mum who she's taken a photograph of a seagull, like it's literally sitting on her daughter's face, taking a hot dog out of her mouth.
Oh my God.
This is Lucy Stewart. She said, we had no idea how big a problem this was. Loads of people have gotten in touch since I posted the picture to tell me about their own seagull encounter. A frightened mum says she's been terrorised by a rowdy seagull nesting outside her front door, which the council won't remove. I'm sorry, but the picture of the seagull is sort of sitting in some like overgrown grass outside this woman's door, and it's given her this like mad side eye as she's taking a picture. Just like imagine like squawking at her. Yeah, I mean, we have litigated Scotland's, well, not Scotland. I'm sure it's not just Scotland, but certainly when we lived in Aberdeen, there's like seagulls like albatross flying around Aberdeen, and they're pretty brazen. But I have to say, it's one thing about living near the sea in Scotland that I don't miss.
To go back to this gentleman, so he's charging 50p extra insurance. on his
Yeah.
toastie. How do you prove your toastie's been nicked? Like, you're not just paying 50p and then you're getting another free toastie, effectively. But then, can you be arsed? Because then you've got to join the queue for another hour.
I think you've spotted perhaps a flaw in his plan there, Nicky, because I'm sure that there'll be a few people that will... I mean, I'd imagine that most people who are visiting the seaside of St Andrews are probably nice, sort of touristy type people that are coming to visit the home of golf and are above such dishonesty. But, you know, sure there'll be one or two. But then what it sort of shines a bit of a light on is that if he's asking for a 50p insurance, then that must be what it costs him to make a toastie, right? Like bread, cheese, filling, whatever. So then he's not mentioned in the article how much he's selling the toastie for. I bet it's
but then
expensive.
he's got overheads as well.
Yeah, of course he does.
He'll have his rent. He's got to make a living. He's saying he should just be making free toasties.
No, of course not. But, you know, you don't want people to know how much your costs are when you're selling something, you know, because people don't account for the things that you've accounted for, you know. They'll just be like, oh, yeah, fucking footpad, charging me like $4.50 for a toastie when it's only costing you 50p to make it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So the cheesy toastie shack, there's a little plug for your man's little restaurant there on the beach of St Andrews. Maybe go and buy one of his lovely t-shirts.
Oh, you can buy his t-shirts or a tote with the seagull on it on his website, but there's no costs there. Let me have a look on TripAdvisor. It's always a good sign. It just says price range $5 to $7. So
for a toastie?
I don't know. Yeah, so he's probably charging about, I don't know, £4.
£4.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think he struggled to charge more than $4.50 for a toastie, even in St Andrews.
Yeah, I would think so. Anyway, enough about his pricing strategy for his toast.
I'm sure he knows what he's doing.
Kind of shouldn't have gone down that rabbit hole there, maybe.
What? Everyone with the Criminal Justice Act. You don't understand. The man is taking my son, or he's done something to my son, or he fucking knows something about my son. You've got to go back there. You're taking me to fucking jail, and you're taking him to the hospital.
Big Pussy was a huge topic on episode 109 when we looked at the film American Cousins, telling the tale of two New Jersey gangsters who find themselves in Glasgow staying at an ice cream and chip shop. But we went back to prison in the news and discovered a genius way that prisoners are recycling their cardboard.
This takes me back. I used to do weekends in my uncle's pizza place. Now that was hard work.
That's no hard. Put the cheese, put the tomato in the oven. 2-minute job. Frying fish now, that's hard.
Well, this one, I think, has to be one of the best Swally stories that I've seen for a long time. It's the one that I've discovered myself, anyway. We had, we've had stories on the podcast before that have demonstrated that no matter what they're in prison for, Scottish lags often have a good sense of humour, like the whole Nicholas Rossi thing. And then I read one as well about a guy some hippie guy in Inverness who apparently was a rapist, and he tried to fake his own death in America, and he got what do you call it?
Extradited.
Extradited, thank you, back to Scotland. And because he was a sort of hippie guy, and the guys on his floor are all doing wolf calls all night because he was just like a bit of a swampy, you know. But this one's absolutely brilliant. So this is from the Scottish Sun on the 4th of September, and the headline is Jail Heist. Crafty cons nick prison TV to play Xbox and replace it with cardboard. One. So crafty cons have nicked a widescreen TV from a prison exercise area and replaced it with a bit of cardboard. The stunt allowed inmates at Low Moss prison, just near Bishopbriggs, to play Xbox games on the 42-inch screen for a fortnight before the guards rumbled the ruse. A second missing telly was also later discovered at the Nick in Bishopbriggs near Glasgow. A source told the Scottish Sun, the 42-inch TV is usually well mounted and is in the cardio exercise zone, but some cons managed to remove the brackets, grab the telly, and slotted a piece of cardboard that had been painted black in its place. They then transferred the big TV to a cell where they were able to spend a couple of weeks playing the Xbox. In the end, they were rumbled when guards noticed about 5 prisoners all huddled round the same screen. I don't think anybody thought they would get away with it for so long. After the TV was found, staff did extra checks and realised another, bigger TV had also been taken from a different communal area. This vanishing trick was eventually busted by guards on August the 15th. Most prisoners have smaller TVs in their cells, but a widescreen is about double the size of the normal TVs they have. A Scottish prison service spokesman confirmed 2 TVs were reported missing at His Majesty's Prison Low Moss and subsequently traced and recovered by staff. That's it, that's a story. But yeah, honestly, it really fucking made me chuckle.
How did it take them so long to discover that one of them had them in a cell? Like, it must have taken up the whole wall.
Don't know.
Like, I'm instantly thinking of the Seinfeld episode where there's a Kenny Rogers chicken shop opens across this apartment, and like the neon light just shines in his building. Yeah. Like, it shines through his peephole even. Like, and there must have just been a massive light coming from this one cell of prisoners playing fucking, I don't know, BioShock or whatever Xbox game they're playing.
I'd love to know. Probably Grand Theft Auto or something like that. Yeah. Just like the sort of ingenuity really made me laugh.
How did they take that off the wall and smuggle it back to their cells without being spotted? It's not like you can conceal it like a fucking shiv or something. Like, it's a fucking massive TV. How the hell did they manage to get away with that?
It's got an image of like a big fat prisoner with it stuck up his jumper, you know? Like, sort of kind of landscape, you know, to make his shoulders look dead broad. Yeah, it just made me laugh. It really did.
To replace it with a bit of cardboard. It's like we need to put something in its place because they'll notice something's missing if we don't. Just get a fucking bit of a cardboard box.
Paint it black and stick it in the bracket. Yeah, oh god.
They'll just think it's a HelloFresh channel or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I presume they don't get HelloFresh deliveries in prison, although you never know. But they've got Xboxes and stuff, so maybe. Yeah, that's incredible. What a fucking great story.
Oh, it's so funny. It's just, it made me think, you know, like in the Shawshank Redemption, it's like years of Tim Thingmay with these little geology hammers, little rock hammer, just like carefully knocking out the wall behind the poster and dropping it in the yard and stuff. These guys are like, fuck that, just pop a bit of cardboard in there, get that telly up to his cell.
Fulton Mackay will never notice. It's fine.
It'll be a laugh.
We're from North Jersey, and you know, we're in public relations. My fat arse.
So what you saying? She's saying they're mobsters.
The Swally Spooktacular kicked off in October on episode 110, where we fanboyed over Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, Keith Barron off Duty Free, and Cassandra from Only Fools and Horses, as we looked at the 1973 horror film Nothing But the Night, which, if you haven't seen it, is fucking mental. But in the news, we had to call for a clean-up in Glasgow Airport after a passenger dropped a Toblerone in departures.
All your sexy books.
Yes. They're mostly technical.
You'll like this one, Greg. This is very much a Swally-centric story, I would say. So you're taking a drink there. I'll wait for you to finish because...
Oh, right, okay.
You might... I'm hopefully going to laugh at this. This is from the Daily Record this week, and the headline reads, Glasgow Airport cordoned off after huge poo discovered on floor.
Cordoned off.
Scots airport staff were forced to clean up a massive poo in the departure lounge after someone dropped a log in the middle of the floor and kept on walking. Holidaymakers were forced to jump over the offending material at Glasgow Airport as staff tried to block it off, as captured in a hilarious video. The clip, posted on TikTok, showed a wet floor sign that was placed over the largest part of it and it was left on the floor, while a smaller chunk sat a few yards away.
For goodness sake.
The person recording the video says, "Somebody's just shite," as he pans from the smaller piece to the larger piece a bit further back. A young man rounds the corner and has to adjust his footing to avoid stepping in it, whilst the man behind him peers at the poo as he gives it a wide berth. The man filming zooms in for a close-up and says, "Look at that, he shook it right out his trousers." An airport worker can be heard saying, I'm dealing with that to do, as an easel stand was placed over it. The man videoing continues after the wet floor sign was placed over the biggest piece. Somebody's full on took that straight out their trousers. Look, there's a cordon round it. In the 43-second clip, he continues to film as passengers pulling cases narrowly avoid making contact with the excrement as he says, "We're getting close here, guys." The video was posted on the Air Shirku account with Glasgow Airport the tagged location. It was captioned, "Somebody's been in a rush for the departure gate. They've had to drop a log in the middle of departures and kept on walking." The clip was shared with nearly 1,000 people and attracted a number of comments, with one viewer joking it would change how they would pass through the departure lines on their next trip. They said, "So I fly out on holiday in 2 weeks and I'll now be staring at the floor and not staring straight ahead, making sure my white trainers stay white." It's not clear who was responsible for the mess or where they were headed to on holiday. Why is that important? Glasgow International Airport was approached for comment. So there you go, Greg. Somebody has done a shite on the floor and departures. They've shat themselves and just let it slip out. They should have been wearing jobby catchers. And then this wouldn't have happened. But I was so chuffed when I discovered that you hadn't read this story. Yeah, just insane that someone would do that. Just have a shit on the floor.
I mean, the fact that someone attempted to crash an exploding car in the Glasgow airport and things just continued as normal, like almost immediately in 2007. And someone does a big jobby in the concourse and it's like an international incident.
It's big news. Someone's dropped a log in the middle of the floor and kept walking. Like, fucking hell. It takes balls to do that, surely. Like, there's toilets everywhere in an airport. You can't be in that much of a rush.
Yeah, I mean, there's no excuse.
When you've got to go, but you can always make it to a toilet. There's toilets everywhere in an airport.
Yeah, there's no excuse, mate, whatsoever. It's absolutely disgusting. I can't imagine ever being, I mean, we've had a few stories in the Swally over the years where, I remember was one in Dunfermline near the Pars grounds, people complaining about people shiting in their gardens. Do you remember that? Like a couple of years ago. And of course, we had like a very early one when evidently somebody had somehow got some shit into a freezer in Iceland. Don't know.
Yes. Still one of my favourites.
Yeah. But like, yeah. I mean, it's actually a bit of a nightmare. Like, you know what I mean? That like being caught that short that you can't even make it into the toilet.
Could you possibly imagine though? I'm sorry, if you're eating or anything, if you eat, you should be listening to this podcast, but I should have warned probably before I told that story. But you imagine you're going away on holiday or something and okay, it's in departures, so your big luggage is on the plane, well, get into the plane, but you've got your little carry-on case, you're trundling along and you accidentally roll it through that shite.
Oh.
That's not just, you can't just wipe that off the wheels. That's in the mechanism of the wheels and on the undercarriage bit. You're never getting the smell of shite out of that suitcase.
Yeah.
You're going to have to burn it.
It's a holiday ruined, isn't it?
Or if you step in it in your shoes and then you've got to sit on the plane with your shoes smelling like shite.
I was thinking a bit about that kind of thing today because for whatever reason, I was thinking about my granny, like my mum's mum, and I was thinking about the first flat I remembered her living in when I was a wee boy, which was in a street called Scalpy Place in the Milton in Glasgow. So I was so busy at work that I had a wee look on Google Street View to see if the house was still there. And it's all like, the funny thing is like the road is still there, but they've knocked down all the tenements and just sort of landscaped around it. And I'm sure that probably at some point there was high ambitions for that land, but because it's the Milton, they just left it and it's just all sort of slightly scruffy looking bits of grass and things. I remember it was just something that happened regularly in the early 80s was stepping in shite. Like, obviously there's been a lot of campaigns to get people to pick up their dog shit and stuff. You know what I mean? But like, whenever I would arrive at a grandparent's house, before I could step over the threshold, we were all told to check our shoes. Check your shoes before you come in case anybody had accidentally stepped in shite. And it must have just been, I mean, you don't really see shite in the streets these days because I think most people are quite responsible when it comes to walking their dogs. And not that many people just stop and squat and shit in the street. even in Glasgow, right? So, but certainly back then it was like the streets of Glasgow were like a fucking minefield.
Yeah, you're right. I guess it is. It's not as common nowadays to step in shit, which is good.
Yes,
obviously,
yeah,
very good thing, because there is nothing worse. Like, because you can never really get that out the tread of your.
Just ruins your
trainers.
Just ruins your trainers. You know,
depends on the tread you've got, but most treads are quite intricate, and like, you're never getting that out. And then you've got to throw away a brush, because if you'll have to use a brush to get it out. And there's also the worry. This is that would fear me the most, is of you're cleaning your trainers, you're holding it like under a tap and scrubbing it. What if like a bit flies up and hits you in the face? You know?
Yeah, you gotta have like a mask on and like some kind of protective eyewear.
Yeah. A fucking biochemical suit to do that.
Yeah.
I think you just need to. Well, there's a podcast that we listen to, and I think the presenter regularly tells the story that he'd stepped in dog shit and came home and he'd stepped on his doormat, and he's like, I threw away the trainers and the doormat.
Yes, yes, right.
To buy like £100 to get a new doormat, because it's just, I guess, I just couldn't have it anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
it's just no one understands just how life altering stepping in shit can be. Throwing your best trainers out.
But yeah, thankfully, it sounds like nobody stepped in this excrement in the departure lounge at Glasgow Airport.
So they covered it with an easel and a wet floor sign.
Yes, a wet floor sign. The largest part. There was still a smaller part left uncovered. I don't know what happened to that.
It was fucking massive. Sumo wrestler visiting Scotland or something like that. You know what I mean?
I don't want to go into this too much, but I guess it was me that brought up the story. But how does someone do that? And how are they then getting on a flight? Like, there must be some residue there. So...
And it would smell. You'd be able to smell it on the plane, right?
Yeah, it's going to be... It might have been a she. We don't know. But yeah, going to be stinking of shite sitting on their flight and sitting down for the next... Maybe that's why it's important we wanted to know where they were going. Was it just a 45-minute flight, or was it a 7-hour flight? Because, I mean, okay, you can go to the bathroom and clean up afterwards, but you're still going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Your bumhole's going to be itchy.
Yeah, and that toilet, like the sort of aeroplane bog roll, is often not of the highest quality, you know?
I don't know if I've ever done a shite on a plane, actually.
You must have.
I don't think I have.
All those flights between Scotland and Dubai.
It's only a 7-hour flight. How often do you shit?
Yeah, but it's the time of the flight, isn't it? Like, you know, like it's first thing in the morning, leaving to Glasgow.
Yeah, you just, like, I'm pretty, I would say, get up, have a sip of coffee, and then I'm away.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I'm not really like that.
I'll get up, first sip of coffee, then I'm straight to the toilet, then that's me done, yeah.
I'm a bit of a mid-morning man, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Usually my coffee has to go down a little bit before the reaction happens.
Well, there you go, Swally listeners. Now you know the bowel habits of Greg and I.
Yeah, so
if
another peek behind the curtain there.
If Andrex or Charmaine or anything would like to sponsor us, you can get in touch with us, cultureswally@gmail.com.
You've destroyed my dreams. I curse your cruel God!
Samuel L. Jackson was the star of our 113th episode in November, when we looked at the 2024 film Damaged, which sees him portray a Chicago cop travelling to Edinburgh to investigate a serial killer. But more worryingly was the revenge that one man sought on his boss by putting something rather special in his beard ointment.
Do you mind if I take a look inside?
You got a warrant?
Not yet.
Well, fuck off, then. Away from my property, officer.
I'm not sure how I'm going to get through this story, Greg, but I will try my best. As soon as I saw this headline, I was like, this is perfect. I'm having that. This is wonderful. We never share news stories before we record, but I had to take a screen grab of the headline, and I think my words to you were, fuck off, I'm having this one. So, this is from the Daily Record this week, and the headline reads, Worker boasted he ejaculated in boss's beard balm after row.
Fuck's sake.
A COVID vaccination worker jizzed into a bottle of his boss's beard balm following an argument, a court heard. Jordan Fitzpatrick made the mistake of boasting about what he had done to another manager a number of days later. The 25-year-old, I mean, you're going to tell people, aren't you, if you've done that? The 25-year-old told his fellow worker that the complainer, who is not being identified, had a bottle of beard oil on his table. He then confessed, "I jizzed in it." I can't get through this. When the oily gel was inspected, it appeared cloudy with sediment at the bottom, and police were informed. Livingston Sheriff Court was told. The contents of the bottle were sent for forensic analysis and found to include semen containing DNA which matched that of the 25-year-old Joker. Fitzpatrick of West Lothian originally claimed he was innocent of any crime, but changed his plea to guilty on Wednesday, the day he was due to stand trial. He admitted committing a breach of the peace by conducting himself in a disorderly manner, taking possession of a bottle of beer gel, and by means unknown, depositing his semen in the bottle. He accepted that his intention was that his former manager would use the contaminated beer gel. He also admitted making other colleagues at the NHS vaccination centre in Bathgate aware of his actions between July the 1st and July the 5th, 2021. So he's been telling everyone that he's done it. And I mean, fair play, I would as well. Kevin Duggan, defending, said he would reserve his plea in mitigation until Fitzpatrick returns to court for sentencing. Sheriff James MacDonald called for a criminal justice social work report and an assessment of Fitzpatrick's suitability for a restriction of liberty order. He adjourned the case until December the 4th.
For fuck's sake, I mean, it seems like quite a hectic response. It's obviously just been a nasty sort of prank to play because they've had an argument. Surely it didn't have to go to court.
Well, would you not be upset if somebody jizzed in your beard balm?
Well, of course I'd be upset, but I don't think I don't think I'd be pushing for prosecution. You know what I mean? It seems excessive.
You ever jizzed in anyone's beard balm, Greg?
No, I've never ejaculated into anything that that nobody wanted me to ejaculate into. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't say I've done the same. I haven't ejaculated into anything that I wouldn't have. When I lived in Norwich, do you remember my housemates in Norwich?
I remember one in particular being a bit of a fud.
That'll be John. He was an absolute fucking cockwomple. He used to call me a porridge. He wasn't a very nice man. He lived, he was from Coventry, worked in the Peugeot factory, and he was a bit of a dick. The other guy I lived with, Corky, he was okay. He was in the RAF. He was a bit odd as well, though. Like, I felt a bit of an odd man out living in that house. I remember the one memory I have of Corky is that he had this girl that he was friends with that he was desperately trying to get with, but she wasn't interested and she was just stringing him along, basically. And I can't remember why, but one day I went into his room. I must have been looking for something. I don't know what. I was maybe just wanting to go and have a rummage around, see if he had any spare change or something. And he had this notepad.
Read his diary.
Well, funnily enough, he had this notepad lying next to his bed and he'd been writing poetry. And I will never forget this until the day I die. I memorised this poem, and me and my mate Ian had a fucking good laugh about it lots of times. Like when we'd be drunk, we would start belting it out in a nightclub. It went, "The girl I love who doesn't love me, she kisses strangers but won't kiss me." And I felt a bit sorry for him after that, but it was a good poem. Anyway, the day I left, I was going back to Aberdeen, and I knew that John was always up first, and he would boil the kettle and he would make a big flask of tea to take to his work with him, and he'd have a cup of tea in the morning as well before he left. So I was driving back to Aberdeen from Norwich, so I got up at like about 4 a.m. because I was like, I want to make a good head start, because obviously you know how long the journey takes in terms of things.
All too well.
So I made sure I had a cup of coffee, and I'd packed my car the night before, and then I was just getting ready to leave. I had a shower and stuff. So I emptied the kettle, and then I filled it to the brim with my piss and put it back. That was my parting gesture. Now, I don't know, if you boil it, does that sterilise it, or?
Still going to taste like piss, I would imagine.
Hope you enjoy your tea that day, John.
Just hot piss instead of like body temperature.
I think he put milk in it as well. That's a congealed.
I've never, ever done that to anybody.
It's the only time I've ever done it, and it was because he deserved it. Greg, you used to call me a porridge.
Yeah, that's not one. I think
maybe
you should have just battered him.
He was a big cunt though.
Was he the one who got upset when we were staying there because I can only assume it was our mutual friend after his Red Bull bowel problem that he had perhaps left the bowl of the toilet somewhat marked, and he came down and had a fucking moan about it at us, remember? Or he had a moan at you about it, I think.
That was him. That was him.
Yeah.
He was a dick. So I do not regret what I did, Greg. I do not regret pissing in his kettle. If he'd had a beard, I'd have jizzed in his beer bottle.
Fair enough.
I'm just saying, I would have.
Are you a wolf in sheep's clothing, Mr. McGregor?
And that wraps up 2024 from the Culture Swally. On behalf of Greg and myself, I would like to thank all of you for listening and for all your support over the years. And Greg and I look forward to bringing you many news stories from 2025 in the future. If you want to get in touch with us, visit us on cultureswally.com. You'll find links to all the episodes and you can get in touch with us through there. You'll find our email address and all of the socials there. We will be back in 2 weeks' time for our regular episode, where we will be looking at the 6-part series from 1994, starring Ken Stott and David Tennant, taking over the asylum. But before I leave you, most listeners will know how much Greg and I love a certain Scottish actor. Of course, Mr. James Cosmo. We've had an award named after him for a very long time, and we call him the patron saint of the podcast. And in 2024, he officially did become the patron saint. So I'm going to leave you with a full clip that I got Greg for his birthday. I'm going to hand over to Mr. James Cosmo. Till next time.
Hello, Greg. It's James Cosmo here, patron saint of the Culture Swally. Nicky, your pal, sends the best for your birthday. I hope you're having a great time. Nicky tells me that you've got a podcast about Scottish films, and that's lovely, and you've got an award named after me. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I hear you're meeting in Edinburgh for a concert, so that'll be terrific. It really did make me laugh, Greg. Nicky says your favourite role of mine was Victor Baird Taggart, where he got to hit Matt Costello around, and the Hogmanay and Christmas parties. And have I forgiven Martin Compson for what he did to your bathroom door? Anyway, funnily enough, I've just finished a 3-part thing with Martin called The Choice. No, not The Choice. Fear, it's called. That Choice is another thing I've been doing. But this one is called Fear. It's a 3-part thriller. Really, really good. I think that's for Amazon. So I don't know when it'll be out, but look out for it, because it's one of those ones that you'll be able to watch the 3 episodes in one night, and you really need to. It's really good. I think it'll be really good. Anyway, Nicky says he's going to raise a Tinner's Tartan special for me tonight, so thank you for that. You have a great birthday, Greg. All the very best. Take care. God bless.